Greetings, math fans. All right, so today what we're going to do is we are going to talk about using the graphing calculator. All right, so using the graphing calculator. And basically, the most important thing is, and I'm sure your calculator is already in this mode, but if it's not, it needs to be. Calculator must be in degree mode. Okay, and sometimes you switch back and forth between degree and something called radian mode, which is actually could be used in physics. So just need to be careful here. But let's bring up a graphing calculator. All right, and the first thing you want to do is you want to hit mode. And we've done this already before in chapter 1. Okay, so we cursor down here, and right now it's in radian mode. I just kind of have that on purpose, right? It's highlighted, so you cursor over here. Make sure you're in degree mode, so it's being highlighted and flashing, and then quit out of here. And we've already done using degree, minutes, and seconds, so let's just kind of review that. Right, you hit second, apps, and there's your degree symbol. Your minute symbol is number 2, and then number 4 is your DUMS key. Okay, which is DMS, right, to convert degrees, minutes, and seconds. And then remember to get your seconds button. You hit, and again, I know it's kind of weird, so let's quit out of here, but you hit alpha plus, right, and there's your seconds key. Okay, so just to kind of remember some of this. So let's do a problem here. Let me clear that out of here, and let's just do a couple problems here. So the first kind of problem is going to be, let's put it over here. If you're given an angle, so really two kinds of problems. You're given an angle, and you need to find the ratio, or you're given the ratio and you got to find the angle. Okay, so we have basically sine of 78 degrees, 52 minutes. Okay, and again, this is just really easy. That is the easiest problem I could probably give you. This type of problem right here, your little brother could do it. Okay, well, okay, maybe not, because they don't know necessarily where the degree and minute symbol is. But let's just do this one. So we got sine of 78 degrees, 52 minutes. Hit enter, and I'm just going to round it to 4 decimal places, so it's equal to 0.9812. Okay, really easy. And then if I do, let's do tangent of negative 113 degrees 21 minutes. And again, just because it's negative, it's no big deal, right? And it's tangent too, so it's really nice because you just type it right in your calculator. So let's do that one. You have tangent of negative 113. And sometimes people, again, they get thrown off with the negative if I'm finding one of the trig functions of a negative value, you just type the negative in. You don't deal with anything differently with a negative. Just type it in. So second, let's see, 1 and 21 minutes. So 21. Okay, and just hit enter, and you get 2.3164. 2.3164. Really, really, really easy. Okay, and then we have cosecant of 102 degrees 18 minutes. All right. First of all, I'm going to stress so much, math fans. Oh my gosh, this is just a terrible thing to do. It is not this. People like to do that, right? Cosecant goes with sine, so it is not sine of 1 over 102 degrees 18 minutes. Oh my gosh, that is like the worst possible thing you can do, because we've talked about this before. Sine is not, you don't take the reciprocal of an angle. It doesn't make sense. Okay, 102 degrees 18 minutes, there is no relationship at all between 102.18 and 1 over 102.18. Think about this. 102.18 is a nice big angle. 1 over 102 is almost like 0 degrees. Okay? It's really, really, you just don't want to do this. This is like a horrible, horrible mistake to make. In fact, I'm just going to show you what it looks like when you do it this way. Watch. Okay? If I do sine of 1 divided by, I'm just going to do 102 just to make it easy. Okay, just 1 over 102 degrees. Watch what happens. Look at that. You get just some weird answer, and it's, if you recognize that, that is actually scientific notation for 0.00017. So don't tell me, oh gee, it's because that would be like almost 0, which is true because isn't 1 over 102 is like almost saying a 0 degree. 1/100th of a degree is like saying 0 degrees, which sine of 0 is 0. So if you get something like this, you should recognize right away, wow, I must have pushed the wrong button because it is such a small number. Okay, so anyway, it's just a really, really bad thing to do. So I'm just going to clear this out of here because I don't even want to see that. It's just like horrible. All right, and let's go back to the problem here. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to type in, as you remember that, is 1 over the sine of 102 degrees 18 minutes. Okay, that's how you do this problem. This is horrible. Don't do that. Okay, so it's 1 over sine of that. So let's type that in our calculator. So 1 divided by the sine of 102 degrees 18 minutes. Much more reasonable answer. Okay, so this one we got 1.0235. Okay, and then the last problem I'm going to do here is cotangent of, we'll just do cotangent of 25 degrees, and of course that is going to be 1 over tangent of 25 degrees. Okay, which is really easy, so let's just do that one real quickly. 1 divided by tangent of 25. Okay, 2.1445. 2.1445. Okay, it was pretty easy, but that again is given an angle. All right, so now let's actually I'm going to just do it on the left of this because I think that's actually going to help on the left. Watch this. So I'm going to clear this left side out here, and then you will have both of them in one spot. Okay, so the next thing is going to be find the angle. Okay, so let's highlight. We can highlight this too because I like using the highlighter. All right. Okay, so find the angle. All right. So in other words, I was again given the angle, sine of this many degrees, tangent of this many degrees, cosecant of this many degrees, cotangent of this many degrees. Now what we're going to do is you're going to be given a problem that looks like this. And let's just kind of review. Remember when I gave you guys cosine of theta is equal to 1/2? And you went, oh, okay. Let's see, I got two answers here. So cosine is positive here and here. And you found the reference angle to be cosine of what is 1/2. You said, oh, it's 60 degrees. Okay, so then you told me your answer is theta equals 60 and 300 degrees, right? Remember that? Okay, not from not very long ago. All right, and now using the calculator, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring the calculator back up here, and let's move this over. Alright, so let's clear this out here. And basically, I'm going to, the calculator is good at finding the reference angle. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say inverse cosine. So we're going to hit second cosine. That's your inverse cosine. all right, and we're going to do a 1/2. So just what I did with it manually. Watch, inverse cosine of 1/2. Hit enter. There you go. Look at that. So what the calculator does is it finds it. It does it manually. Okay, and or it does you find the reference angle manually? You have to do that. So your calculator is not going to find you two answers. It doesn't know that you want two answers. It's only going to find a reference angle. Okay, so once you get that 60 degrees, then you're going to do a little bit of work, and you're going to say, okay, exactly what I did here. You're going to say theta prime equals 60 degrees, and then with your calculator, you're going to type in. You just have to know to type in. Well, 60 degrees is one answer. Then you have to know to say 360 minus 60 gives you 300 degrees. So you've got to do a little bit of work in your calculator. It's only going to do so much for you. It's only going to find, so using the calculator is only finds theta prime. Okay? You do the rest. Alright, so let me clear this out now, okay, because I just want to do that. And let's do another problem here. Just want to show you what's going to happen here. Cosine of theta is equal to negative 1/2. So using your calculator again, you're going to do inverse cosine of negative 1/2. I want to show you what's going to happen. Okay, so inverse cosine of negative 1/2. Watch what happens. You get 120 degrees. So the calculator gives you 120 degrees. What's wrong with that? Boo, boo, not a reference angle. Okay, because the reference angle is going to be between 0 and 90. So your calculator, again, is only so smart. Now, 120 degrees actually is one of the answers, but I need a reference angle because I need more than one angle. All right? So here's the deal, math fans. You basically are always going to use a positive value when you're finding a reference angle. Okay, so let me actually just give you some steps here to work on every problem. Okay, so here's some steps. If I give you cosine of theta, let's do the whole problem over again, equals negative 1/2. The first step is you're going to find theta prime on the calculator using positive value. So I'm going to put this in absolute value using the positive value of the ratio. Okay, so always positive. Okay, very, very important. And so when I do that in the calculator, as I already showed you, your theta prime then is going to be inverse cosine of positive 1/2, which then will give you 60 degrees. We already did that one, right? Okay, there's the top one, inverse cosine 1/2. Then you're going to do, so that's your first step. And the second step then is use all students take calculus to find the answers manually. All right, but of course, remember, I mean, don't forget this, math fans, right? That was negative. Just because you use a positive here, don't forget the original problem. We just use the positive value to find the reference angle, and then we got to go, oh, okay, this one's negative. So of course, then what we're going to do is, cosine is negative in this quadrant and this quadrant. So then we're going to say theta is equal to 180 minus 60 gives me 120, and theta equals 180 plus 60, which is 240 degrees. Okay, so you have to do that manually. Okay, so let's actually do one with a little bit of a decimal here, because we kind of know how to do this already with our graphing or with manually, but using our graphing calculator, haven't done that. No big deal. So here's your example. So if I say sine of theta is equal to negative 0.234. Once again, math fans, I'm looking for the angle. You got to understand that. this is so different than me saying sine of 20 degrees. That's, you just type that in. It's so easy. This is a little bit more challenging. Okay, sine of theta equals negative 0.234. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the reference angle, and the reference angle is inverse sine of positive 0.234. Always use the positive values. So let's bring our calculator up here. We're going to do second sine of 0.234. We get our answer is 13.5 degrees. We'll just put it in as one decimal here, okay? So 13.5 degrees. So theta prime equals 13.5 degrees. All right, and then remember the second step was to say, well, gee, where's sine negative? And you say sine's negative here and here. So what do? You say 180 plus 13.5 degrees and 360 minus 13.5 degrees. So you got 193.5 degrees and 346.5 degrees. And that's it. Okay? Pretty easy. Now, this is where people get confused, and just kind of pay really close attention to this one, is people get confused when I give you a problem like this. If I said secant of theta is equal to negative 1.678. All right? And just remember, like what we did back in the day, if it's secant, you need to rewrite it, because you don't have an inverse secant button on your calculator. So you need to rewrite this as cosine of theta equals negative 1 over 1.678. Got to rewrite it, math fans. Cannot stress that enough. And again, sometimes people like to do this, and this is really bad. They like to do 1 over inverse cosine of, and I don't know if they do the whatever, they do 1 over that. This is bad. You don't do 1 over that. Guys, this is a ratio. Just like when I said secant of theta is equal to root 2, you wrote this as, oh, that's cosine of theta is equal to 1 over root 2, which is root 2 over 2. Okay? So you can take the reciprocal of a ratio, but you can't take the reciprocal of an angle. So again, if I said secant of 30 degrees, it is not cosine of 1 over 30. All right, there's a big difference. This is really, really bad. That's the reciprocal of an angle. This is the reciprocal of a ratio, and I'm allowed to do that. Okay? So anyway, back to this problem here. I have cosine of theta is equal to negative 1 over 1.678. This is really easy now. This is what we've done in the past, where basically you just do inverse cosine, because we're finding a reference angle, inverse cosine of positive 1 over 1.678. Okay, and that gives us, if I do that, let's show the calculator here, inverse cosine of 1 divided by 1.678. It's always good to close parentheses too. It's a good habit. And we get 53.4 degrees. Okay, so 53.4 degrees, that's a reference angle. And then where is secant, or in this case cosine, negative? It's negative here and here. So we're going to do 180 minus 53.4 and 180 plus 53.4. Okay, so that gives us 126.6 degrees and 233.4 degrees. Okay? Pretty straightforward, right? Alright, let's do another one here. Let's do cotangent of theta is equal to negative 5.63. Alright, so remember, you're going to rewrite this as tangent of theta equals negative 1 over 5.63. And then we're going to find the reference angle. So theta prime is equal to the inverse tangent of positive 1 over 5.63. Always use positive values. And so let's show you that on the calculator. So inverse tangent of positive 1 divided by 5.63. And that gives us 10.1 degrees, right? 10.1. theta prime equals 10.1 degrees. And then, of course, where is tangent negative? It's negative in these two quadrants right here. So we're going to say theta is equal to 180 minus 10.1, and theta is equal to 360 minus 10.1. So your two answers come out to be 169.9 degrees and 349.9 degrees. Okay, so that's it for just using the basic calculator. Again, just kind of follow the similar steps to when you're doing it manually. Okay, just remember a lot of the same things, but now you're using your graphing calculator, and it's really not that bad. You know, you're converting things into sines, cosines, and tangents if you have things in terms of secant, cosecant, cotangent. Okay? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here is we are going to be finding theta with restrictions. So finding theta with restrictions. So it's exactly what we did before, but the key here, math fans, the key, this is a key if you haven't figured that out, or somebody who doesn't feel too well either, I guess, is you need to draw a picture of the quadrants. Okay, I cannot stress this enough. It is so important. 18,000 stars around this. You have to draw pictures to see where you're at when you're doing a restriction. Okay, so my first example is going to be sine of theta is equal to negative 0.23, and I'm going to tell you, hey, cosine of theta is less than 0. So that's a restriction. So I need to draw a picture of where I'm at. Well, first of all, where is sine negative? Okay, do you guys agree sine is negative? Using all students take calculus, sine is negative here and here. Okay, that's one restriction by just looking at this value right here. And then I have my second restriction, cosine of theta is less than 0. So where's cosine less than 0? Well, it's less than 0 here and here. Okay, so where does it overlap? It overlaps right here. So your final answer will only be in this quadrant. All right, so just keep that in mind. So now we're going to do is just what we did before, is we're going to say theta is equal to the inverse sine of positive 0.23, because we need to get a reference angle. That's theta prime. So theta prime, let's bring up our calculator. So we're going to hit inverse sine of 0.23, and we'll just round to one decimal, so it's going to be 13.3 degrees. So theta prime is 13.3 degrees. All right, and then of course we're in the third quadrant, so what are you going to do? You're going to say theta is equal to 180 plus 13.3, so theta comes out to be 193.3 degrees. Okay, it's the only difference between what we did before and what we're doing now. Is now, like I said, I'm giving you additional restriction. I'm telling you, hey, cosine of theta is less than 0. Okay. All right, so let's do another one here now. These are really pretty easy. I'm going to say cosine of theta equals 0.56, and I'm going to say theta is a set of, it's basically between 180 and 360. So this is another type of restriction I can give you. Okay, not including 360, but including 180. In fact, this is just a good time to mention that 360 is never used. Okay, sometimes people give an answer, a final answer with 360 in it. It is never used. Okay, because 360 is the same thing as 0, so why would I repeat an answer? You never do that. So that's why there's a parentheses around 360. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do inverse cosine to find theta prime. Inverse cosine of 0.56. So let's do that in the calculator here. Inverse cosine of 0.56. And I got 55.9. Okay, so it's equal to 55.9 degrees. Again, that's a reference angle, and let's actually sketch where we're at. So do you guys agree? First of all, cosine is positive where? Cosine is positive here and here. And then I give you another restriction, and that restriction is between 180 and 360, so let's highlight that. So here's 180, and let's do it in red. So this is 180 and 360. Okay, so where does it overlap? Where does the black and the red overlap? It overlaps only in this quadrant right here. So that means you're going to have one answer in the fourth quadrant. So here's your reference angle, and so that means theta is equal to what? 360 minus 55.9 degrees. So theta comes out to be 304.1 degrees. Okay? So restrictions are pretty easy. I got a couple more to do with you guys. Let's do cotangent of theta is equal to 1.63 and secant of theta is greater than 0. Okay, another restriction. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do, I got to rewrite this because I don't have an inverse cotangent button, so I can write tangent of theta is equal to 1 over 1.63. And then you're going to do theta prime is equal to inverse tangent of 1 over 1.63. So let's do that. Second tangent, inverse tangent of 1 divided by 1.63. Hit enter, and we get 31.5 degrees. So theta prime equals 31.5 degrees. Okay, so let's draw a nice picture here. And you're going to say, well, let's see, where's tangent positive? Or cotangent, same thing, right? So they're positive in those two quadrants. And then I have secant greater than 0. Well, remember, secant goes with cosine. And where's cosine greater than 0? Cosine greater than 0 is in the first quadrant and in the fourth quadrant. So my answer has to be where it overlaps, so that's going to just be the first quadrant. So that one's actually easy because my answer then, theta is just equal to 31.5 degrees. One answer. Okay? Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 1. Okay? All depends. Alright, so last example here. Secant of theta is equal to negative 1.4, and I'm telling you it's in quadrant 3. Well, that's really friendly. That's like really easy. I'm telling you the quadrant. Ugh, I'm like your best friend. Okay, so we're going to do cosine of theta is equal to negative 1 over 1.4. But of course, remember, we're going to do inverse cosine of positive 1 over 1.4 to get our reference angle. So that's going to be inverse cosine of 1 divided by 1.4. And our reference angle is 44.4 degrees. So theta prime equals 44.4 degrees. Okay, and let's draw a picture now. Cosine is, remember, go back to the original problem though, right? Because cosine, we're looking for where it's negative. And cosine is negative in this quadrant and this quadrant. And then I'm telling you it's got to be in quadrant 3. So that's kind of a no-brainer. It's got to be in this quadrant here. So I'm going to highlight this. That's the only answer I'm going to get. And so, of course, what are you going to do? You're going to say theta is equal to 180 plus 44.4 degrees. Okay, which gives you 224.4 degrees. And that's your answer. Okay? All right, math fans. So basically we covered, two different things. One is without restrictions, where I ask you to find, the angle, or I ask you to find the ratio, all depending on what you're looking for. And sometimes I can give you restrictions. So just kind of be careful of what I'm asking for, and do well on here. Okay? That's it, my fans. Have an outstanding day. Adios. Goodbye.